got some heavy hitters in the house here. Michigan State turns the page in year 2 under Robin Fralick. She's the first head coach in program history to make the NCAA tournament in her first season. Kim Barnes-Arico led Michigan to their 6th straight NCAA tournament berth last season, the longest streak in school history. In Happy Valley, Penn State racked up the most wins in a decade with 22 last season. The Nittany Lions have improved each year under head coach Carolyn Kieger. And we welcome you back into Rosemont, Illinois. So glad to have you here. I am Kylan Mills, joined by those 3 head coaches who I just mentioned. Penn State head coach Carolyn Kieger, great to see you. Michigan's Kim Barnes-Arico and Michigan State head coach Robin Fralick. How's everybody doing this morning? You guys have your coffee? You should bring the energy up a little bit here.
We're ready to go.
Yeah. All right. All right. That's what we like to hear. Well, I want to start out by addressing the biggest change to the Big Ten this season, and that's 4 new schools joining the conference, 18 taking part for the first time in Big Ten history. Kim, as the longest tenured coach up here on the stage, 10-plus decades, what do you expect to change in Big Ten basketball with those 4 new additions?
Well, I thought the Big Ten was the greatest league in college basketball, but adding those 4 teams really puts an exclamation point on that. They're 4 outstanding programs with incredible coaches and tremendous student athletes inside their programs. So I just think it's going to bring more depth, more talent to our league to make us the strongest league in the country.
What about you, Carolyn?
Yeah, I'm just obviously thrilled to play against such storied programs. I think it's only going to enhance the product that we had last year. Deepest league, phenomenal student athletes who are playing at the best in the peak of their basketball careers with phenomenal coaches that we get to go head-to-head every night. So best conference in America, and we're excited to compete.
How about you, Robin?
Yeah, we added really good teams, really good players, really good coaches. I mean, echoing what's been shared, it makes our league even better, and it's coast to coast. I mean, the Big Ten now has its stamp on the entire country, and so we're grateful to be part of it.
The theme that's been echoed throughout the day today has been that this is the best and most competitive women's basketball conference in the country. I'm curious to hear from you, Robin, as a coach who was on the outside looking in another conference just a couple seasons ago. What were your views of the strength of the Big Ten before and now that you're a part of it in terms of the level of play?
Well, something I love is just how much more attention has been on women's basketball. And so, you know, coaching, when I was a coach in the MAC, being able to watch Big Ten basketball consistently, I was just in awe of the level of talent, the size, the speed, and then really good coaching. And so then going up against it, it's like, oh, wow, it's as good as you think. And it just keeps getting better, which is what's really fun about it. It keeps getting better. And our league, you know, this year, has been said, is going to be as good as it's ever been.
Kim, as a coach who's been around for more than a decade, how from the inside have you seen the conference change in terms of the talent, the quality of play, maybe the style of play?
Yeah, it's continuing to grow every year. And I think, you know, Robin mentioned from coast to coast, it gives us the ability to really go in the homes of everyone around the entire country because our footprint touches everyone. So it allows our recruiting base to really grow and to have the best players in America in our league. And I think that's really important. The coaches are continuing to improve and continuing to get better. Every year it's just getting greater. And I came, you know, I say 10 years ago, but actually it's been more than 10 years ago for an opportunity to be a part of a conference that was growing. And here we are, you know, 12 years later, really kind of taking over the world, it seems like. So, you know, just the best players, the best coaches, and an opportunity to be a national brand for sure.
Carolyn, for you building a program, how has the strength of this conference helped as you're trying to make that happen?
Well, I think obviously for us as competitive coaches, we want to go recruit student athletes who want to play against the best of the best. And that's what the Big Ten provides us, an opportunity to sell. And night in and night out, our young women get to play against the best players in the world. They get to go against the best coaches in the world. So for us, when we go sell that and we sell it to competitive young women who want to be elite, who want to be their best, there's not another conference that they can go to get that, you know, with 18 teams deep.
As you make a point about the talent, a lot has changed when it comes to recruiting that talent in the era of name, image, and likeness. Players, they're looking around to see how much money they can get offered. I've talked to coaches who've said, you know, it's a little bit of a dogfight out there when it comes to recruiting players. What has changed the most about your job as a result of name, image, and likeness? And I'll start with you on the far side, Robin.
Well, it's part of it. And so, And I think there's a lot of really good parts of it. And I think the female athletes we're in a better spot than ever. I have an 8-year-old daughter, and I told her the other day, get outside and shoot, girl. Never a better time to be part of women's basketball. But, the things that matter still always matter. I still think when you're at practice, when you're in a huddle, when you're on the court with your kids, that feels exactly the same. And so those parts, I love that. And then I think there's just more opportunities than ever for female athletes, and I think that we've got to find ways to make that all work together. And so there's a really exciting part to it.
Same thing. You're bringing in a big freshman recruiting class here this season. What changed in terms of that process with NIL?
Yeah, I mean, just to echo Robin's sentiments, I think, coaching basketball is coaching basketball, and your practices and your huddle and all of that is the same. But these opportunities for women, and that's really important, and I have 2 daughters as well. Just the whole landscape has changed, and we have to evolve with that change, and we have to embrace that change. But we have always talked to our student athletes about using your platform and growing the game and growing yourself and growing opportunities for women. What an incredible, incredible time. And I think we saw that with, our league last year. But for our incoming freshman class, you're having opportunities that people a year ago didn't even have. We have to embrace that. We have to find, they have to find, or the world has to help in these sponsorship opportunities for these young women that can really change the world. They're bright stars, and they're finally having a chance. And I just think it's an incredible time.
I think it also provides our young women a chance to grow. And we talk about things with our players that we didn't talk about 5-10 years ago. Building your brand, growing your brand. How do you advocate for yourself from a business standpoint? How do you give back to the community with local companies or local businesses? And I think for our young women, they're set up for success after basketball or making an impact in life beyond the court. And those opportunities are such phenomenal, valuable experiences for them to grow, to learn, and to be able to take with them for the rest of their lives.
It's such a good point about the learning curve in terms of the business side of things and also the social media, the branding. Like, how do you as coaches try to manage now that side of things too, in addition to developing these young women as people, as leaders, and as basketball players? Now you throw in that side.
Well, I think it's part of the 360-degree view of who they are as a human being, right? So when you talk about player development, now it's human development. And it's about growing who they are off the court just as much as it is their jump shot or their rebounding. And for us, we have a tall task to make sure that they're set up for life in every area. And I think this is just another opportunity and platform for them to grow, even when it comes to contracts, when it comes to negotiating, when it comes to taxes and all that stuff, that they're really set up now and they're getting opportunities. And so when people talk about name, image, likeness, these are some amazing stories that are happening across the country, especially for student athletes and females at that.
I think our university has also embraced those educational opportunities as well. So the University of Michigan has implemented a number of programs on financial literacy, on taxes, on contracts, and we have an incredible business school that has really helped us as well. So we have different programs in place and different seminars in place that our student athletes attend to really, besides us as coaches, helping them learn that landscape, but the whole university embracing that and helping our student athletes become educated in this space.
Yeah, everything that's been shared is really relevant. I think similarly at Michigan State, we just have a lot of resources. I think our athletic department's done a really good job of providing opportunities and educational opportunities. And one of our favorite things to say in our program is that when our kids graduate, we want them ready to launch, right? And now they're more prepared than ever. I mean, I think of a lot of the things they know that I wish I would have known when I graduated, and some of it you learn the hard way, right? And you learn as you go. But I think more than ever, these opportunities are preparing them to launch and be very prepared.
Your guys' jobs are just incredible, because you point out you have to develop the person 360. You have so much on your plates, and now you add in the chaos, or it's kind of like a free agency in a way in terms of the transfer portal. You look at all the movement you see now. I'm just kind of curious. We'll start with you, Kim. What do you find is the right balance in terms of bringing in players and developing them, and then finding those win now or maybe ready right now recruits in the transfer portal that do bring in that experience?
Yeah, I think, just like NIL, the game has changed. the landscape has changed, so it's our responsibility to continue to evolve and continue to grow as coaches, as student athletes, as young women. So I think this is just another area. It makes it interesting because every university is different. And, the University of Michigan is not an easy place to go to school. I mean, the demands, they pride themselves on excellence in the classroom. So in the transfer portal, we really have to be selective on, who is going to be a great fit for our program, who's going to be a great fit for our university. And we've been very fortunate to get some great transfers. But I think that's probably for all coaches would say that while going through the process, you have your culture, you have, stuff established inside your program that you have to get players that are a great fit. And whether that is a student athlete that's coming out of high school or whether that is a student athlete that wants a change in their college decision, it has to be a great fit for your program. And I think that's really important. That's really important to the athlete, and that's really important to the players in your program and to the university. So we have to change. I mean, that's the common theme that all of us are talking about up here today. That's the reality. That's the world that we live in. So we have to embrace it, and we have to learn, and we have to grow and kind of have fun with it. So it's been an interesting time. I'm interested to hear from these guys. Sorry. I feel bad for Robin. She always goes last. So she.
That's all right.
So I was going to pass the mic to her on this one, but
Yes.
I really tried to help her out and go first.
Appreciate that, Kim. It's part of our game, and I think it's equitable. We all know about the portal. We all have the same access to it. We all, kids can leave and come just the same. And I think that's a part of it that's good, right? And the other piece is there's a strategy to everything we do, and the game has changed. And so you have to pay attention to what that looks like and how our specific needs fit. And I think what's shared is when you're really clear about what you're about and what your culture's about, it attracts that, right? And that it attracts that with high school student athletes, and it attracts it in transfers. I think one thing, we have 4 transfers that joined our team this season, and they're wonderful people, and they've really blended into our team really well. And I think they knew exactly what they were looking for. And so there's some parts of it that, once you kind of learn as you go through, I think it's clear of what you want or maybe what you're looking for. So it's part of the game. It's for sure part of our league. And I think there's been some really good things that have come from it.
That's something a lot of coaches talk about, is that with some of the veteran players, they know what they're looking for,
Yep.
too, so you can better match that right fit. I'm going to put a little spin on this for you, Carolyn. As we're talking about looking for the right fit, how do you evaluate that in such a finite amount of time, especially if you're looking at players you didn't recruit in high school, you're trying to develop that relationship very quickly?
Well, I think a lot of it is different depending on what your philosophy is, but I know a lot of us recruit players the second time around. We got to know them in the high school process. We got to know their families. We got to know their coaches. So if they do enter the transfer portal, we have a little bit of familiarity. We have a relationship built out, a little bit of authenticness already happening. So you're not having to do it in a 20-day window or one official visit. But when those opportunities do arise, it's asking the right questions. And I think that's where we as a sport are continuing to evolve. The student athletes, the parents, the coaches, we all have to figure out the exact right questions to ask in a short amount of time to find out exactly if it's a right fit and what both sides are looking for.
I want to wrap up here by talking about just the growth in women's basketball we've seen in the last just year or two has been incredible. And Robin, I'm going to let you go first since you've had to go last so many times and follow up these two. But I know you have a daughter, Clara. And when I saw you last season, you mentioned she got an assignment at school where she was asked to write down or draw what she wants to be when she grows up. And she drew a Michigan State basketball player. Yep. So you get to see this through an eyes of a young girl. What kind of impact is women's college basketball making right now?
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I actually got to take her to our first WNBA game this year. So we were at the Chicago Sky versus New York Liberty. She has a Caitlin Clark jersey. She has an Angel Reese jersey. She shoots in the driveway and calls herself different professional players' names. Her favorite place to be is at our practice. Our team is unbelievable with her. She feels like she's part of the huddle. Now, with all of this being said, she got to get to work. We got some work to do. But I love that she's part of our huddle. Our team has really embraced her. A funny story: last year, she came with us on a few road trips, and the road trip she joined us on, we won. So the team began to be like, well, it was like a Wednesday, and it was Tuesday afternoon, and I got asked, is Claire coming tomorrow? I'm like, she does go to school. They're like, but she's our good luck charm. So it's amazing. It's better than ever, and I'm really fortunate to see it through not only the eyes of my players, but to see it through the eyes of an 8-year-old.
Homeschool. That's the only answer, right? For Clara, of
Sure,
course. Good luck charm.
I'll put the team in charge of her.
Ooh, might be a little dicey here. How about you, Kim? What's it been like in the last decade plus to watch the growth of the women's game and the excitement that's building ahead of this season?
Yeah, similar to Robin, I have 2 daughters, and it's just great to watch them grow up in this space. And last year, my daughter was a senior in high school, and she had to give a number of speeches at her school. And every single time she got up, she talked about how great it was to play for female coaches, whether that was in lacrosse or whether that was in basketball, and how great, they were such great mentors, and they really taught her, what it was like to be a strong, powerful woman in that space, and how important it was to play for a female. And then I would ask my younger daughter, who's in high school, what are you thinking about for college? And she's like, I don't know, but I'm definitely going to play for a female coach. And I was like, wow,
Yes.
okay. And 20 years ago, that wasn't the same, because there weren't that many, opportunities to do that, or there weren't that many women in the game. And it's just nice to even be sitting here right now and look to my left and look to my right and see these strong women and just the opportunities that we're going to have. We just recently hired on our staff. We have a all-woman staff right now, and Natalie Achanwa, former WNBA player and 4-time Olympian, and she's like, well, Coach, I almost didn't come into the business because I have a young child, and I didn't think I would be able to juggle things and have this opportunity to be able to do this and still raise my son. And I think it's really important for us as women to give other women those opportunities so we can continue to grow the game for women. So as much as our game has changed, and I mean, last year was absolutely incredible, especially in our league. I'm watching the W right now. It's I can't wait. I was so bummed last night that I was flying at the same time the game was on. I couldn't wait to get to my room to call up my girls or my son even, and just talk about the game. And my boy, he's in college playing. Like, his buddies watch all of our games. So it's cool to see that everyone is following women's basketball. Everyone watches women's sports.
Yep.
And the platform that we have and the impact that we have, or our student athletes have, over young, growing girls and boys is absolutely incredible.
What's it like for you, Carolyn, being in the eye of the storm that is the excitement around women's basketball as a women's head coach?
I think it's obviously just so refreshing for a young woman to walk into a packed arena, to see that, they're worthy of these crowds, that the buzz that the media is giving in social media and live TV and commercials, that they can aspire to have these huge dreams and actually have them come to fruition, right? And I think, if you build it, they will come. And women's basketball has shown that is a reality. But it's not just happening in women's basketball. It's happening in women's volleyball, women's soccer in the Olympics, Simone Miles in the gymnastics. It is a phenomenon right now that I think the entire world is figuring out. And it's well overdue, but no doubt deserved.
Well, as a woman in broadcasting, I just want to say I appreciate all 3 of you, your leadership, what you bring to the floor. It's incredible. It's been fun to watch, and we're looking forward to watching much more this season. So thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.